Chapter 78 of The Plum and the Golden Vase, Chongzhen edition of Embroidered Portraits. Mrs. Lin fights again and Ryer tastes the stem Dualaneth word says. Phoenix spun with gold mut belt, dragon pattern jade palm comb. Come and laugh under the window, come and support me. How deep is my love for my thrush? I have been using my pen to lean against people for a long time, and I am just beginning to try my hand at describing flowers. I will ask the crazy husband with a smile. Will the joy not fade away from the old days? It is said that Simon King drank with his uncle and went home at night. The next day, Jingdu superintendent rode up early in the morning to thank him and said, I was very happy when I saw the decree came out yesterday. It shows that the old man loves me so much. He took so much trouble to make the marriage unforgettable. After saying that, the tea and soup were changed, and Jingdu was very happy. The governor stood up and asked, when will Mr. Yen invite us to have a drink? Simon King said, it's not possible to invite us in the past 2 days. It won't be until the first month. He was sent to the gate, got on his horse and laughed. Simon King slaughtered a fresh pig, 2 jars of Zhejiang wine, a big red velvet gold collar, a black and green silk collar, 100 gold cakes with fruit filling, and thanked the censor of Song Dynasty. Chun Hong was sent to take the post and send it to the procuratorate. The gatekeepers reported in, and the Song Yeshi called him to the fire room in the back hall to enjoy tea. After he wrote his reply, he rewarded Chun Hong with 3 coins. Come to see Simon King. Take it apart and look at it. It says, it is a shame to disturb Washington twice. Now that I have been humiliated and humiliated, how can I bear it? The matter of the foreign orders kissing Jingzi has already been established and the minister is aware of it. I have been thirsty for many days and looked up to Feng Biao, and I learned about it face to face. Thank you very much. The waiter Song Qianyan came to serve Mr. Simon and Jinyi. The censor of the Song dynasty immediately sent someone to give him 100 calendars, 40,000 pieces of paper, and a pick as a gift in return. One day, the superior issued a document, ordering Uncle Wu Benwei to take charge. When Simon King went to pay his respects, he gave Uncle Wu 30 taels of silver and 4 pieces of Jingduan to hand over to him for his use. On the 24th, he sealed his seal and came home. He also prepared red scrolls with sheep, wine and flowers, and invited relatives and friends. When Uncle Wu came back from taking office in Wei, he would welcome him home and hold a big banquet to congratulate him. He Qian, whose family members from Tokyo arrived again. Simon King wrote Yunyang's name and sent them tea. On the 26th, 12 Taoist priests from the Jade Emperor Temple Wu Daoguan recited the 100 Days Suture with Li Pinger at home, arranged rituals, and played loudly. Relatives and friends came to bring tea, and invited them to eat and drink. They dispersed in the evening. It's all beyond words. On the 27th day, Simon King sent gifts to each family. Earl Ying, Si Zida, Chang Zhiji, Gai Fu, Gai Gan, Han Daoguo, Ben Dechuan, and Shui Ben. Each family had half a pig, half a lamb, and a jar, wine, 2 bags of rice, 1 tael of silver. Sister Li Gui, Wu Yin'er, and Zheng Aiyu were in the courtyard, each have a set of clothes, 3 taels of silver. Wu Yunyang went to fast with Aunt Zhu in the nunnery, and ordered Lai An'er to send sesame oil, rice noodles, and money without saying anything. Look at the day of the Lunar New Year. The moon is shining through the plum blossoms. The snow is blowing on the eaves, the bamboos are exploding in thousands of households. Every house has spring stickers, and peach charms are picked everywhere. Simon King burned the paper and went to Li Pinger's room to pay homage in front of his soul. After the sacrifice, wine is placed in the back hall, and the whole family is happy. His family members, servants, maids and daughters-in-law all came to kowtow. Simon King and Wu Yunyang were both rewarded with handkerchiefs, sweat towels and silver coins. The next day, the first day of the first lunar month of the first year of Chong, Simon King got up early, wore a crown, and wore bright red. He burned paper in the sky and on the ground, ate snacks, prepared his horse, and went to pay homage and celebrate the festival. The Yunyang and other women got up early, applied red powder, arranged flowers and emeralds, wore brocade skirts and embroidered coats, wore stockings and bow shoes, decorated themselves with enchanting makeup, and dressed up happily. They all came to the Yunyang's room to salute. Pingener and the festival leader of that day met at the door, went to the door book, and promised to communicate with officials and scholars. Dian and Wang Jing wore new clothes, new boots and new hats, kicked shuttlecocks at the door, set off firecrackers, and cracked melon seeds. There are countless waiters and supervisors, all of whom are in charge of Chen Jingji. About noon, Simon King came back from paying homage to someone in the county. As soon as he got off his horse, he summoned the 3 officials of the Xuan prefecture to come to him in their clothes and scarves. He went to the hall and bowed 4 times to Simon King 8 times, and then asked Wu Yunyang to see him. Simon King asked to go to the back, met Yunyang, and came out to sit in the front hall. Just then I picked up the wine and had a drink, and saw thousands of households coming to worship. Simon King asked Chen Jingji to take care of Wang Sangwaner, and he went to sit with He Qianhu in the rolling shed. Wang Sangwan ate for a while, then said goodbye and got up. Chen Jingji saw him out of the gate, mounted his horse and left. Behind them were Jingdu's supervisor, Yun Commander, and Qiao Dahu, all of whom came in droves. Simon King stayed with them for a day and was half drunk. He sent them away in the evening and went back to his upper room to rest all night. The next morning, he went out to celebrate the festival again. When he came back in the evening, Uncle Han, Earl Ying, Zida, Chang Zhiji and Hua Xiao came to pay their respects. Chen Jingji sat in the hall with him. When Simon King arrived, he saw Bai Li and put the wine on the table again to drink. Uncle Han was across the door from Hua Xiao and went first. The remaining count, Zida and Chang Zhiji sat there and refused to go. I bumped into Uncle Wu coming again. After seeing the ceremony, he went back to pay homage to Yunyang and came out to sit down. Eat until the lamp has dispersed. Simon King was very drunk after eating, so he sent the count away and waited until everyone at the head of the family had left. Simon King saw Dan standing next to him and squeezed his hand. Diane knew what he meant and said, "There is no one in his room." Simon King rushed into his room. My wife was already at the door to welcome me in. There was no idle chatter between the 2 of them. They walked into the inner room, took off their clothes and started fucking. It turns out that my wife likes to do it with her legs together and fanning her with both hands, just to teach Simon King to please him. The hot water flowed out, soaking the mattress. Simon King dipped his glands in the medicine and pushed it in. He held his waist with both hands and just rubbed it. The handle of the penis went all the way to the root, leaving no hair at all. The woman stared at her and just said, "My dear father." Then Simon King asked him, "You little one, what's your name? Tell me." My wife said, "My maiden name is Yi, and I am the 5th sister." Simon King kept calling her Wooer. The wife was originally from a breast, had an affair with Bai Si, was abducted, and became his wife. I am 32 years old this year and I don't know what is going on. His mouth was like water, and he kept calling me dear father continuously, and his passion was so strong that it was pouring out. Simon King pulled out the handle to wipe it off, but the woman stopped him and said, "Stop wiping it off. Wait until the whore comes down and suck it off for you." Simon King was so happy that the woman actually squatted down, held the words in her hands, and sucked them off. I smacked it clean before putting on my pants, because he asked Simon King, "Why didn't he come after such a long time?" Simon King said, "I'm also looking forward to him here. I'm just afraid that your father Gio will keep him in the capital." He met his wife for 2 or 3 more times. He asked for 2 silver coins. So he said, "I'm going to give you a set of clothes, but I'm afraid Ben Si will feel embarrassed. Why don't I give you some silver and you can buy them at home? Open the door and send them out." Diane was already waiting in the shop with the door closed. Simon King went back. The judge heard that since ancient times, if the upper beam was not straight, the lower beam would be crooked. It turned out that B's 4th wife had an affair with Dan first. Dan had just sent Simon King to go in, because Fu didn't sleep in the shop again. He and Ping Enner, after drinking 2 large bottles of wine, he ate in his wife's room until the 2nd watch. After Ping En rested in the shop, he and his wife slept in the house all night. There is such a thing. Exactly. With eyes full of romance and fascination. Why are the remaining flowers so much like mud? Picking up the harp and taking a break from Shang Ling's exercises caused the mountain birds to cry around the tree. But it was said that B's 4th wife slept with Diane at night, because she said to him, "I obeyed my father for a while. I am afraid that the Han sister-in-law next door will know about it later, and she is like the Han lady, who was said a few words by your mother-in-law for a while. How can we meet each other so shyly? Diane said. Now, except for my aunt and Wu Niang. It doesn't matter. It's just that Wu Niang is about to get better. What to buy during the festival? Going to show filial piety to my aunt. Nothing else matters. She always eats steamed cakes. On the 5th day of the Lunar New Year, you buy steamed cakes with fruit fillings and a box of big and strong melon seeds. It's my mother's birthday, and you can give me some more gifts. And I'll give my 5th mother a box of melon seeds. I'll keep my mouth shut. The 4th wife followed Dana's words, and Simon King was not at home the next day. Diane bought a box for him and took it to Yunyang's room. Yunyang asked, "Where is it from?" Diane said, "Sister-in-law by sea gave it to my mother to eat." Yunyang said, "He's a man and he's not at home. So why don't you ask for money and let him worry about it?" She quickly collected it. Then he took out a box of steamed buns and a box of fruits and said, "Top him, thank you very much." On that day, Simon King went home to pay his respects. Early in the morning, Taoist official Wu from the Jade Emperor Temple came to pay homage and stayed in the hall to have a drink. Just as Wu Daoguan was sent away, Simon King took off his clothes and asked Dan, "You ride on your horse and ask sister-in-law when my father is coming to pay homage to my wife today." "What do you think he said?" Dan said, "Dad, don't go." To Li Wen's sister-in-law rode on a donkey and hit the door. He said that tomorrow, on the 4th day of the lunar month, Wang Sangwaner would get up and go to Tokyo to kowtow to Mr. Liu Wang. The wife said that Jiao would be there on the 6th day of the lunar month. "He's here to serve you." Simon King asked, "Is he really saying this?" Dan said, "How dare you lie?" Simon King went to the back. As soon as he sat down in the upper room, Anna suddenly came to report, "Uncle Wu is here." Uncle Wu entered the back hall wearing a crown and a gold belt. He first bowed to Simon King and said, "I have a lot of armor. Thank you very much for your kindness and kindness. I was not at home yesterday, so I came here to kowtow to you. Please excuse my delay." Simon King hurriedly bowed his head in return and said, "Congratulations, uncle. Why should we care about our dearest relatives?" After paying homage, Yunyang came out to kowtow to his brother. The panicked uncle hurriedly returned the courtesy and said, "Sister, it's just a courtesy. My brother and sister-in-law don't know what's good and they often come to harass you and your wife. Your brother is old, so you should take care of him." Yunyang said, "I have it for a while." Uncle Wu said, "Sister, why bother you and me?" After saying goodbye, Simon King left Uncle Wu to sit down and said, "It's too late for us. I guess Uncle won't pay you anymore. Please undress and sit in our room." Unexpectedly, Meng Yulu and Pan Jinlian were both in the room. When they heard Uncle Wu come in, they hurriedly came out and kowtowed to him. He kowtowed and went straight to each room. Simon King asked his uncle to sit in his room, set up the table on the brazier, and put out the dishes. Xiao Yu and Yuxiao both came to kowtow to their uncle. Yunyang set a small gold bell, poured wine and handed it to her uncle, Simon King, who was in charge of the ceremony. Uncle Wu said, "Sister, you can come and sit too." Yunyang said, "I'll come." Then she went into the inner room and brought out several fruits and vegetables to go with the wine. While drinking, Simon King asked, "Uncle's official affairs have been settled?" Uncle Wu said, "My brother-in-law promoted me, and I came to the post of Wei Zhongshang. The top and bottom personnel are all given by Zhou. Only the people in the camp are here. I haven't arrived yet. Dan Day is a good day. The seal is opened in Weizhong. I come home to sort out some boxes and have to carry them to the camp to take office. Mr. Ding has ruined his affairs and has been impeached by the inspector. Now that I have taken charge of the business, I need to clean up the registered households and warn the villagers to make sure that the new ones in the old management are reported clearly. By tomorrow's autumn grain, the summer tax can only be collected in the villages." Simon King asked, "How many farms are there in total?" Uncle Wu said, "It was Tae's old practice to establish this farmland to save the labor of transporting troops. After receiving the autumn grain, Prime Minister Wang Anshi established the green crop law and increased the summer tax. Now, in addition to the wasteland, Reed Farm, and Port Pass, there are a total of 27,000 hectares of farmland, and only the summer tax is levied on each hectare. 1 tael and less than 500 taels of silver. At the end of the year, I will pay it to Dongping Mansion to attract investment for the purpose of preparing military supplies and horses. Simon King asked again, "Is there any profit left?" The uncle said, "Although there are still some people who have lost their households and are not registered, the villagers are stubborn. If the levy is very tight, I will wait for the scales to be measured, and I am afraid that there will be public opinion." Simon King said, "If there are more or less, there are some. Forget it." "Is it a full expedition?" Uncle Wu said, "To be honest with my brother-in-law, if you can take care of this village, you will have 110 taels of silver a year. At the end of the year, every household will still have chickens, geese, and rice. It's up to everyone to find it. It just depends on my brother-in-law's support." Simon King said, "I have to do my best to seduce you." After saying this, Young also came to accompany you. "Sit down and the three of you drink." After holding the lamp, Uncle Wu got up and went. Simon King rested all night in the Golden Lotus room. Early the next day, he went to the Yamen to open the seals, ascend the hall and draw the seals, and distribute official affairs. First, Yunli Shujia posted a message, inviting Simon King and Huey officials to have official wine on the 5th day of the lunar month. The next day, Mrs. Lan of Hekian who sent a message to invite Sister Yunyang to meet her on the 6th day of the lunar month. On that day, Simon King, Ying Boju, and Wu Daju went to Yunli to look after the family. It turned out that they had mortgaged a house next door. They set up wine in 3 guest rooms and invited people to play music and drums to welcome them. They had a table and came back home in the evening. Before long, Yunaying went to Hekianhu's house for a drink. Simon King dressed neatly, rode a horse with a veil, and was followed by Dian and Kintong. In the afternoon, they went straight to Wang Zhaoxuan's house to pay respects. Wang Sangwan was not there, so he sent in a note. Wen Sauer was already there, and she took the note and quickly reported to Mrs. Lin, saying, "Come out and ask the master to sit in the back." Turning round the hall, he went to the back and lifted the bright curtain. He saw that the floor was covered with carpets and the curtains were hanging red. After a while, Lin, wearing a red gown with long sleeves and a head full of pearls and jade, met Simon King and finished the formalities. Then she asked him to sit down and wait for tea. She said, "Sir, take the horse to the back trough and feed it." After tea, she asked Simon King to sit in the room to change his clothes. She said, "My son went to Tokyo to kowtow to his uncle and father-in-law, Liu Huang Taiwei, on the 4th day of the 1st lunar month. He will not come back until after the Lantern Festival." Simon King called Dian and took off his top. He was wearing a white silk jacket and a sky blue flying fish cloak, which was very elegant. The table was set in the woman's room. Soon, the maid brought wine and food, cups and plates were ranged, and the food was piled up. The wine was golden and the tea was jade. The woman passed the cup with her jade hands. Her eyes were sending her feelings, guessing numbers and throwing dice, and laughing. After talking for a long time, the mood was harmonious, and the feelings were deep. After drinking for a long time, the eyes were wicked and the heart was agitated. Looking at the sunset, the silver candles were burned high in the morning. Dian and Kintong were taken care of by Wen Sauer, so they didn't come here often. The woman locked the corner door again, and no servant dared to enter without permission. When they were drunk, the two of them went into the inner room, opened the embroidered curtain, closed the window, gently picked up the silver cup, and hurriedly closed the red door. The man undressed and went to bed, and the woman washed her vagina and went to bed, with a precious flower on the pillow and red waves on the quilt. It turned out that Simon King brought a bag of obscene tools with him, and was determined to fight this woman. He had already swallowed the medicinal wine of the monk who he used braces on his penis to hold up the woman's buttocks in the quilt, let the handle of the whisk go into her vagina, raised his waist and exerted his strength, and tossed and pounded for a while, making loud noises. The woman was below, and she screamed like running water. It was just like the flags of the sea are in the autumn colors, and the drums of the sky are in the moonlight. But I saw the soul-confusing ray is over, and the soul-capturing flag is raised. On the soul-confusing ray, a drunken Vajra flashed out. The lustful demon king was good at fighting. Under the soul-capturing flag, there was a pink skull, and the flower fox was charming and beautiful. In this battle, the drums are beating like spring thunder. In that battle, the muskin orchids are waving. In this battle, the red waves are turning over and the spirit is strong. In that battle, the silver hooks are rustling, and the affection is treacherous. This one is in a hurry, and the 24 untied ones are hesitant. The other one is wrestling, and the 18 rolls are hard to struggle. After fighting for a long time, she was sweating, and her hairpins were messy. After fighting for a long time, she was panting, and the pillow was crooked. In an instant, her eyebrows, moon sacks, and eyes were swollen. In an instant, her flesh was torn and her skin was torn. It is just like, I have fought with the greedy and lustful woman several times, but it is not this time. At that time, Simon King burned 2 incense sticks on the chest and vagina of this woman, and promised to set up a wine party at home on the next day, and asked someone to invite him and Sangwonner's wife to watch the lantern show. This woman had been tied up by him physically and mentally, so she agreed to go. Simon King was filled with joy, so he got up and lingered with him to drink. At the second watch, he led his horse out of the back door and said goodbye to go home. It was just like this. I miss you all day long, leaning against the painted building, and I am reluctant to leave you when we meet. Liu Lang, don't say that the peach blossoms are old. The waves carry the light red flowers to follow the water. When Simon King got home, Ping'an stopped at the door and reported, today, someone from the family of Eunuch Zhu sent an invitation, asking Dad to go to the imperial farm outside the door to see the spring. Another person from Uncle Yen's family sent 5 invitations, inviting 5 ladies to have a festival wine. Simon King heard it and went into Yu Niang's room. Meng Yulu and Pan Jinlian were both sitting in the room. Yu Niang came to Shi Lai's house from He Qianhu's house and was sitting and talking. Seeing Simon King coming in, she hurriedly said goodbye. So he asked, "Where have you been today? Why did you come so late?" Simon King had nothing to say, so he just said, "I stayed at second brother Ying's house." Yu Niang then told him about the banquet at Captain He's house today. It turns out that Captain He's wife is still young, only 18 years old this year. She looks like a fairy on a lamp. She is a person of good appearance, very pretty, and knows a lot about the past and present. When she saw me, she seemed to have met me several times before and was very happy. She has been married to Master He for about 2 years, and now she has 4 maids, 2 foster mothers, and 2 wives from the family. Simon King said, she is the niece of the eunuch Lan, who is the housekeeper of the inner court. She married him with a small amount of money. Yu Niang said, tomorrow, Yun will invite me to a festival dinner and give me 5 gifts. Do you want to go? Simon King said, since he invites you, go and have a look. Yu Niang said, leave Sister Zhu at home. I'm afraid that during the festival, a guest will come and he will have nowhere to go. Simon King said, well, leave Sister Zhu at home. You frickin' go. Tomorrow, Eunuch Zhu invites me to see the spring, and I will go too. I am too lazy to leave. The spring air has been blowing these past 2 days, and my waist and legs are aching. Yu Niang said, your waist and legs are aching because of phlegm and fire. Ask Dr. Ren for 2 doses of medicine. Why don't you just take it? Simon King said, it's okay. Just let it be. Once the 2 days are over, I will feel better. He then discussed with Yu Niang, tomorrow is the Lantern Festival. We must have a feast and invite Mr. He's wife, including the wife of the garrison commander Zhou, the wife of Jing Nangang, the mother of Zhang's father-in-law, the wife of Yun Erge, the mother of Wang Sangwanner, and the eldest aunt, Kui's mother. These people all know how to do it. They only hang up lanterns on the 12th and 13th. They also ask Wang Wang's servants to play tricks for a day. Last year, Ben Si was at home, making a few fireworks to set off, but this year he went to Tokyo and didn't come. So who is going to watch them make fireworks? Jinlian interrupted and said, Ben Si is gone, and his wife is making fireworks too. Simon King looked at Jinlian and said, this little whore, she will go to hell after just a few words. Yu Niang and Yulu didn't pay any attention either, so she said, we have never met Wang Guaner's wife, and we are not familiar with her. How can we invite her? I am afraid she will not come. Simon King said, since she has recognized me as her relative, we will send her a note. It is up to her whether she comes or not. Yu Niang said again, I will not go to Yen's house tomorrow. I am pregnant and I will just go to her and make friends with her. Yulu said, why should I be afraid? Your pregnancy is not obvious. I am afraid it is not this month's child. It is okay. You should relax and take a walk during the festival. After saying that, Simon King drank tea and went to Sun Zue's room in the back. When Pan Jinlian saw him go into Zue's room, she called her elder sister and went to the front. Simon King went to Yu Zue's room and asked him to beat her legs and massage her body for half the night. The night scene was written. Early the next morning, Ying Boju came and said to Simon King, Yun's second sister-in-law sent a note yesterday, inviting you to sit downstairs with the other sisters-in-law today. There were several old clothes at home, but they are all broken. It's the first month of the year and I don't wear nice clothes, which makes people laugh at me. I dare to come to ask my sister-in-law if I can lend you 2 sets of upper clothes and a few pieces of head ornaments and hairpins, so that you can wear them. Simon King ordered Wang Jing, go inside and tell your aunt. The earl said, Ying Bao is outside with a felt bag and a box. Brother, please take them in and bring them out after a while. Wang Jing took the felt bag and went in, and after a long time he took it out and handed it to Ying Bao, saying, inside are 2 sets of colored silk and gold-woven clothes, 5 pieces of head ornaments of different sizes, and a pair of hairpins. Ying Bao took them. Simon King accompanied the earl to drink tea and said, today, the internal minister Zhu invited me to see the spring outside his house again. How can I have time to go? The temple of my relative Wu sent me a message. The annual festival on the 9th day of the first lunar month is held, but I can't go either. I asked my son-in-law to go. I don't know why I drank too much these past 2 days. I have a sore waist and can't wait to get up. The earl said, brother, it's still your fault for drinking. The damp phlegm flows in your lower body. You should be careful. Simon King said, during this festival, who will let you go easily? How can I be careful? As he was talking, Diane brought in a box and said, old man, his family sent someone to deliver an invitation to a festival dinner on the 9th day of the first lunar month. Simon King said, you've been watching this for a long time. Why don't you go when they invite you? Then he looked inside the box and saw 3 invitations. One had 2 red inscriptions on it, with the words Mr. Day and Zhang Siquan Wang. One had the words Mr. Da Du Wu, and one had the words Mr. Xiang Wang Ying, all of which were addressed to student He Yangshu. I bow my head to pay my respects. Diane said. He said he didn't recognize him, so he asked us to send it to Shuer. The earl saw it and said, what's this? I haven't given him a gift yet. How can I go? Simon King said, I'll seal the gift handkerchief for you. You can send Ying Bao to send it as soon as possible. At the same time, he ordered Wang Jing to seal 2 coins of silver and a handkerchief, write your name on it, and give it to your Yinger father. Then he said, put this invitation in your sleeve, so I don't have to send someone to send it again. He only sent Wu Daju's letter to Anner. After a while, Wang Jing sealed the gift handkerchief and handed it to the earl. The earl bowed and said, thank you again, brother. I will meet you the day after tomorrow, and we will leave together. After saying so, he said goodbye and laughed. At noon, Wu Yunyang and the others were dressed up. There was a big sedan and 3 small sedans. Behind them was Lai Ju's wife Hui Yuan. They folded their clothes and took a small sedan, for platoon soldiers shouted, and Qin Tong, Chun Hong, Chi Tong, and Lion followed them to Yun Jihui's house to have a drink. It was just like this. The green eyebrows and cloud-like hair are like a painting, and the graceful waist is far beyond the world. The Chang'o in the sky is originally a kind, and her shyness brews a lot of spring. Let's not talk about Yunyang and the others to have a drink. Let's talk about Simon King, who told Ping Anner at the gate, no matter who asks, just say I'm not here. If there is a note, just accept it. Ping An dared not leave his side after passing by, and just sat at the door. But if there were guests coming to see him, he would just say he was not at home, because Simon King had a pain in his legs. He suddenly remembered that the doctor Ren gave him the longevity pill, which was taken with human milk. So he went to Li Ping'er's room and asked Yingxun to bring some vegetables and wine to drink. After Yingxun sent her away, she walked to the next door and played chess with Chen Mai. If you want tea or water, Rui will give it to you. When Simon King saw that the maid was not in the room, he leaned on the king. He showed her penis with a silver tray and taught her to suck it with her mouth. while pouring wine for himself. He called out, "Zhang sire, my son, you suck it for Dada carefully. Tomorrow I will find a nice flowery vest for you to wear on the 12th day of the first lunar month." His wife said, "I think he is pitiful." While sucking and eating, Simon King said, "My son, I want to burn a stick of incense on you in my heart." His wife said, "You can burn it as you like." Simon King asked her to close the door, take off her skirt, and lie on the king. In Simon King's sleeves there were 3 remaining fragrant horses soaked in liquor from the firewood he had burned at Linz. He took off his chest wrap, sat one on his chest, one under his belly, and one on his lid, and then lit them all with benzoin. He then inserted his penis into her vagina, lowered his head, and pulled it, not caring about exposing its head, and kept going back and forth. He took the mirror and looked at it. After a while, the incense burned to the root of the penis. The woman frowned and gnashed her teeth, enduring the pain. She trembled and whispered softly, humming in a hum, and she cried out without stopping, "Daddy, Daddy, I can't bear it anymore." Simon King then shouted, "Poor Zhang Si, whose wife are you?" The woman said, "I am Daddy's wife." Simon King taught her, "You said you were Zhang Wang's wife, and today I belong to my dear daddy." The woman replied, "The whore was originally Zhang Wang's wife, and today I belong to my dear daddy." Simon King asked again, "Can I fuck?" The woman said, "Daddy, I can fuck." The two spoke obscene words and said everything they could. Simon King's penis was thick and filled the woman's vagina. It went in and out, making the flower heart red like a parrot's tongue and black like a bat's wing, which was very lovely. Simon King then pulled her buttocks into his arms, intertwined their bodies, and thrust his penis into her without leaving any room for hair. The woman stared and lost her voice, her sexual fluids flowing down. Simon King was so excited that his semen gushed out like a spring. It was just like this. I don't know if I have already seen spring, but I feel my body and bones melting. Simon King burned 3 places on his wife's body, opened the door and found a black silk dress with flowered vest for her. In the evening, Yu Nang and her friends came home and said to Simon King, "It turns out that second sister Yen is also pregnant. We both passed wine at the banquet today and said that if the 2 families give birth tomorrow, if it is a boy and a girl, the 2 families will become relatives. If both are boys, we will study together. If it is a girl, we will become sisters, practice needlework together, and visit relatives and play. Second sister Ying will be the guarantor." Simon King laughed when he heard it. No more chatter. The next day, it was Pan Jinlian who came to celebrate her birthday. Simon King got up early and went to the government office, where he ordered the servants to carry out the lanterns, clean them up, and hang them up everywhere. He asked Lai Xing to buy fresh fruit, and asked Xiao Yu to come to the birthday party in the evening. Pan Jinlian dressed up early, with her makeup and powder on, her green sleeves and red lips, and walked into the hall. Seeing Diane and Qin Tong standing on a high stool hanging lanterns, she said with a smile, "I was wondering who was here. It turns out you are the one hanging the lanterns." Qin Tong said, "Today is my 5th mother's birthday. Dad told me to hang the lanterns, so that we can have a banquet for my mother's birthday tomorrow. I will kowtow to you in the evening, and you have decided to reward me." The woman said, "You will be beaten if you want, but not rewarded." Qin Tong said, "Oh mother, why didn't you say anything until you beat me? You only think about beating me in your actions. I am your child. You should just take care of me. Why do you just talk about fighting?" The woman said, "You thief, don't talk nonsense. You should hang the lanterns carefully. Don't be so harsh. You can't hold them tightly and hang them down." The day before yesterday, Chui Benlai said that your father disappeared in the morning. "I almost beat you, but I didn't. This time I will be beaten." Qin Tong said, "Mother, you just lied. My life is so fragile. And you tried to scare me." Diane said, "Mother, you can also ask around. How did you know this?" The woman said, "There is a pine tree outside the palace, and the bell inside the palace. How could I not know the sound of the bell and the shadow of the tree? Yesterday, your father told your aunt that last year, when Ben Si was at home, they made a few fireworks and set them off. But this year when he is not at home, no one can make them. So I said a few words. When he is not at home, his wife can make them. So why not teach him to make them?" Diane said, "What are you talking about? "Mother, how can such a thing happen in a servant's house?" The woman said, "What are you talking about? Sandalwood Target. It happened. It's true. Draw a line. I'm afraid it's over the line." Kin Tong said, "Mother, don't let others tell. I'm afraid Ben Si will know when he comes home." The woman said, "I didn't hide it from that bastard. I only said that the bastard he is also a cuckold. No wonder he went to Tokyo without worry and left his wife at home. I thought he would not be idle. You thieves, don't talk nonsense. You ganged up on your father and led him to the right path. You are just trying to get what he wants. Is what you said right or not? Do you dare to say that I know? The thief whore bought gifts for me and gave them to his aunt. She also gave me steamed pastry and a big box of melon seeds to buy my mouth. She knows how to support a man. I guess it was no one else but Diane, the thief, who made plans for him." Diane said, "Mother, you killed me. Why did I care about his business? I don't go to his room normally." Mother rarely listens to Han Huizi's wife. They quarreled for the children. As the saying goes, if you want to be good, you can't seduce. If you want to be evil, you will do it immediately. The house collapses and doesn't kill people, but it will. The tongue is pressured by people. The listener, no listener. He was squeezed, and he took a strange lady. He and the wife of the Korean Daoguer, who grew up, was a prostitute. Kin Tong said, "I went in the road. As he walked to the back, he met his mother and refused to give him the money for the sedan chair, saying that he had no money." Yu Niang said, "You can give grandma a penny to write the account." Jin Lian said, "I won't bother him. He knows how much money he has. He only taught me to buy things, not to pay for the sedan chair." After sitting for a while, they looked at each other. The sedan bearers outside urged them to leave. Yulu saw that it was not a big deal, so she took out a penny from her sleeve and sent the sedan bearers away. Soon, the eldest aunt, the second aunt, and the master came, and Yu Niang served tea. When Grandma Pan returned to her daughter's room in front, Jin Lian scolded her as much as possible, saying, "You don't have money for the sedan chair, so who asked you to come? You make a fool of yourself and let others look down on you." Grandma Pan said, "Sister, you didn't give me money, so how could I ask for money? I have prepared this gift with great difficulty." The woman said, "You expect to ask me for money? How can I ask for money from you? You see, there are 7 holes waiting here. From now on, if you have money for the sedan chair, come to his house. If you don't have money, don't come. I think his family doesn't need a close relative like you. Don't be a fool to offer gifts to the world." Guanwang sells tofu. The man is tough, but the goods are not tough. I can't stand their bullshit. I went there for you the day before yesterday, and they made a big fuss. Do you know what happened? You look bright in front of the donkey dung ball, but you don't know how miserable you are inside. After a few words, Grandma Pan started to sob. Shanmai said, "Why did you talk about Grandma all the time today?" While comforting the old lady, she sat on the king inside and quickly ordered a cup of tea for her. Grandma Pan was so angry that she fell asleep on the king. When she heard that she was invited to dinner, she got up and went to the back. Simon King came home from the government office and was setting up dinner in the upper room. Suddenly, Diane brought in a note saying, "Old Man Jing has been promoted to the commander of the Southeast. Come to pay your respects to your father." Simon King saw that the note read, "The new commander of the Southeast and the general commander of the grain transport, Jing Zhang, bows his head." Simon King hurriedly dressed and greeted him. The general commander came in wearing a red unicorn patch robe and a golden belt, followed by many subordinates and military guards. He was invited to the hall to finish the ceremony, and the host and guests sat down and the tea was served. Commander Jing said, "The imperial edict for promotion arrived the day before yesterday, and I have not yet taken office, but I came here to thank you." Simon King said, "Congratulations, old general, on your promotion. Great talents will be put to great use. It is natural. We are also honored, so we should pay our respects." At the same time, he asked Zhuo'er to dress in a proper manner and sit for a while. He ordered his attendants to release Zhuo'er, and Commander Jing thanked him again and again. "I want to inform you that my family has not yet paid their respects, and there are still many things to do. I will come back to ask for advice another day." He was about to get up, but Simon King refused to let him go. He ordered his attendants to come up take off their clothes, wipe the spring table, and bring up the wine and fruits. The animal charcoal was burned, and the warm curtains were lowered. The golden pot was filled with liquid, and the green cup was filled with lamb. When the wine was poured, 2 little actors, Zheng Chen and Wang Xiang, came and knelt in front of him. Simon King said, "Why are you here so late?" He asked Zheng Chen, "What's the name of that one?" Zheng Chen said, "His name is Wang Xiang, and he is Wang Gui's brother." Simon King immediately ordered them to bring musical instruments to play and sing. After a while, the 2 young actors sang a set of Jing Jing Rong He. The attendants brought plates and boxes of snacks and rice, 2 bottles of wine, and sent the horsemen away. Commander Jing said, "This is not good. I am bothering you, and I am honored to be given food. How can I accept it?" He immediately ordered him to come up and kowtow. Simon King said, "In 1 or 2 days, the room will invite the old lady to watch the lanterns and chat. I hope you will come down. The only people present are the old lady, the wife of Zhang's relative, the wife of my colleague He Tianquan, and her relatives. There is no one else." Commander Jing said, "If the old lady respects the ticket, I will definitely go." He asked again, "Why hasn't General Zhou been promoted?" Commander Jing said, "I heard that Zhou Zhaoxuan will only be promoted to Beijing in March." Simon King said, "That's fine." After sitting for a while, Commander Jing said goodbye and stood up. Simon King saw him out the door, watched him get on the horse, and shouted and laughed. In the evening, Pan Jinlian celebrated her birthday, and the little opera singer in the back hall played and sang. After the wine was served, Simon King got up and went to Jinlian's room. Yu Niang accompanied the eldest aunt, Grandma Pan, her daughter Yu Daji, and his sisters-in-law to drink in the upper room. Pan Jinlian accompanied Simon King in his room, and arranged for more wine, and kowtowed to Simon King. Later, Grandma Pan came, and Jinlian sent her to Li Pinger to rest. He accompanied Simon King to drink and play together. But when Grandma Pan went to the other room, Rui and Yingxun asked her to sit on the warm kang. First, Grandma saw that there were many lion fairy and 5 elder victory tables in front of the spirit in the main room, and his shadow was hung next to it. So she stepped forward to ask, and said, "Sister is lucky to have gone to heaven." She came in and sat on the kang, and said to Ryer and Yingxun, "Your mother is gone. The master took so much trouble to recommend her and receive such great offerings, but she is gone. She is blessed." Ryer said, "We invited Grandma for my mother's birthday the day before yesterday. Why didn't you come?" Outside the door, Hua Dejinzi and Dejinzi are here, and 12 Taoists are chanting sutras, blowing and beating loudly, raising flags, and performing water and fire refining. They left in the evening. Grandma Pan said, "It was the New Year's Day, leaving a child at home. There was no one at home when I came, so I didn't come." "Why didn't you Miss Young come today?" Rui said, "Grandma doesn't know yet. Miss Young died of old age and illness. My mother hasn't come since the New Year, and my mother and I have gone to the north to offer sacrifices to her." Grandma Pan said, "It's a pity. He is as old as me, but I didn't know he was gone." She was angry and asked why she didn't see him today. After talking for a while, Rui said, "Grandma, there is a cup of sweet wine. You old lady, you some." At the same time, she called, "Sister Yingxun, put Xiao Zhuor on the kang and filter the sweet wine for Grandma to drink." It was brought soon. While drinking, the old woman mentioned Li Pinger again. "Your mother is a good person, a kind and righteous sister with a warm heart. Since I came here, she has never treated my mother as an outsider. As soon as I arrived, she gave me hot tea and hot water, and she was angry that I didn't eat. In the evening, she sat and talked with me. When I went home, she packed something for me to take away. She never left me empty-handed. To be honest with your sister, the coat I am wearing was given to me by your mother. My enemy can't even give me a needle. I don't lie. Amitabha, I won't eat anything. If he is willing to give me money." I dropped my eyes to the ground. "Your mother gave me nothing, and she said I was narrow-minded and coveted other people's things. I thought that today we need the money for the sedan chair, and you, the big boss, have the money. So why don't you pay a few cents for me?" I gritted my teeth and said that I had no money. and asked my sister in the west room at the back to take out a penny of silver and send the sedan chair bearers away. When I returned to the room, she scolded me and said that if there was money for the sedan chair tomorrow, she would send me over, and if there was no money, don't let me come to your house. I'm leaving now and won't come back. I won't be bullied by him if I come here. Let him go. There are cruel people in the world, not as short-lived as me. Sister, listen to me every time. If I die, and he doesn't listen to people tomorrow, who knows how he will reap the fruits? You've lost your father since you were 7 years old. How could I take care of you until now? I taught you needlework since you were young, and sent you to Yu Shukai's house to attend the girls' school. I bound your hands and feet for you. You were born so smart. How could you end up like this? He kept yelling at his mother and interrupting her without even looking at her. Ryer said, so Wu Niang has been going to school since she was young. She was so angry that she could read so well when she was asked to. Grandma Pan said, she went to the girls' school at the age of 7 and went there for 3 years. She could even write and imitate her own words. How can you not recognize the words in the poetry, song and songbook? As they were talking, the door of the corner door rang. Rui asked, who is knocking at the door? She asked Shu Chun, go and see. Shu Chun came and said, it's Sister Chun Mai. Rui quickly pinched Grandma Pan's hand and said, Grandma, please be quiet. Chun Mai is here. Grandma Pan said, I know she is in cahoots with my enemy. Chun Mai came in and saw everyone accompanying Grandma Pan to drink, and said, I came to see Grandma. Rui asked her to sit down, and Chun Mai lifted her skirt and sat on the king. Yingxun sat next to him. Rui sat on the right side of the king, and Grandma Pan sat in the middle. So she asked, have your father and mother slept yet? Chun Mai said, I just sent them to bed. I came here to see Grandma. I have some dishes and a pot of wine. I'll take them and sit with Grandma. So she asked Shu Chun, tell Kyuju to bring them over. I've already saved them. Shu Chun left. After a while, Kyuju brought the dishes in a box and Shu Chun brought a tin pot of Jinhua wine. Chun Mai told Kyuju, look in the room. If they call me, come here and tell me. Kyuju left. At the same time, she placed wine on the table on the king. There were roast duck, ham, seafood and the like, which filled the table. Shu Chun closed the corner door, walked in and sat beside her, and then poured wine. Chun Mai first handed a cup to Grandma Pan, then handed Ryer to Yingxun and Shu Chun. Then she picked out everything from the clothes plate and gave it to Grandma and the others to eat, saying, Grandma, these are all whole dishes. You can eat some. The old woman said, my sister, I'll eat it myself. Then she said, even your mother has never taken such a lot of trouble to treat me well. Sister, you have a heart that cherishes the lonely and the old. You can take care of it one step at a time tomorrow. It's my enemy who has no heart and no righteousness. I have advised him several times because of his dirty heart, but he made me lose face. It was you who saw me coming to your house to beg for cold food this morning. And you are so honest that you can't bear to treat me. Chun Mai said, Grandma, forget it. You only know one thing, but not the other. My mother is a competitive person. Unlike Liu Niang, she has her own money. He didn't have any money, but you just said he didn't give it to you. Others don't know, but I know. Although my father has some money in the house, my mother doesn't even look at him. If she wants to buy flowers or other things, she should ask him for them openly and honestly. Don't be so secretive and make people look down on her. Why do you open your mouth and talk about others? He has no money to begin with. If Grandma blames him, he will suffer. Shouldn't I protect him? We should also seek justice. Ryer said, you blamed Wu Niang wrongly. Since ancient times, children are the flesh and blood of each other. Wu Niang has money. If she doesn't show filial piety to Grandma, who else can she be with? As the saying goes, if you want to show your mother's face, 1,000 peach blossoms will grow on one tree. Tomorrow, your old man will have gold in his cabinet. Wu Niang doesn't have a close relative, just like my mother died. The old woman said, I have this year, but not next year. How can I know whether I will die today or tomorrow? I don't blame him. Chun Mai saw that the old woman had drunk 2 cups of wine and the shout-out came up. So she called Yingxun, second sister, bring the dice bowl. Let's throw the dice each time and grab the red and play. Soon, The dice bowl with 40 dice was brought. Changmei first played with Ryer, and after one round, she played with Yingchun, both of them betting on big bells. You play 1 cup, I play 1 cup. In a moment, bamboo leaves pierce the heart, peach blossoms bloom on the face, and the tin bottle of wine is completely drunk. Yingchun brought half a jar of magu wine and drank it all. It was about the second watch, and the old lady Pan couldn't wait any longer, so she leaned back and dozed off. And then they left. Changmei came back here, pushed the corner door, opened it, and entered the courtyard. Kyuju was leaning on the spring stool in the crack of the wall of the main room, listening to the two of them having sex in the room, and what they were shouting. Just as he was listening to the noise, Changmei came up to him and slapped him on the cheek with all her strength, cursing, "You damn slave! What are you listening to here for?" Kyuju was hit so hard that she said, "I was taking a nap here. Who heard me and you hit me?" Unexpectedly, the woman in the room heard it and asked Changmei who he was talking to. Changmei said, "No one. I asked him to close the door, but he didn't move, so she covered it for him." Kyuju rubbed her eyes and closed the door. Changmei went to the kang, took off her head and fell asleep. It was exactly the cuckoo intends to keep the remaining scenery. And the cuckoo is heartless and loves the sunset. The night scene was written all night. The next day, it was Pan Jinlian's birthday. There were Fu, Gan, Ben Sini Yongzi, Chue Ben's wife, Duan Daji, Wu Shenshen's wife, Zheng Sanji, and Wu Jinzi, all here. Simon King made an appointment with Uncle Wu and Earl Ying, dressed up, looked respectful, rode on horseback and drank, and went to the house of Captain He for a banquet. There were also many officials and guests that day, for singers performed acrobatics together, and Zhou Xiaobai drank with them. When he returned home in the evening, he rested with Ryer in front. On the 10th day, a notice was sent to invite all the officials' wives to have a drink. Yu Nang asked Simon King, "Take advantage of the lanterns and wine on the 12th day to invite Aunt Ming and my eldest sister outside the door to sit down, so that she won't be upset because she invited others but not herself." Simon King said, "You said it a long time ago." He told Chen Jingji, "Write to more notices and send the zither boy to invite them." Pan Jinlian was beside him, and she was worried. She walked into the house and urged Pan Lao Lao to get up. Yu Nang said, "Grandma, why are you in such a hurry? You can stay for another day." Jinlian said, "Sister, it's the first month of the year and there's no one to take care of the child at home, so let him go." Yu Nang packed boxes of snacks and tea in a hurry, and gave him a penny for the sedan chair, and sent him away. Jinlian said to Li Zhaoer, "Tomorrow he will invite his rich aunt to watch the lanterns and have a drink. Why don't we send an old trader away to watch the eyes and eyebrows? What's the point of keeping him in the house? If he is a guest, he has no good clothes to wear. If he is a fire-making mother, he doesn't look like one. It doesn't make me angry." Simon King sent Diana to send 2 invitations to Juanfu, one for Mrs. Lin and the other for Wang Sangwen's wife Wang. He also asked him to call for singers Li Gaier, Wu Yinar, Zhang Aiyuer, and Hong Sire, and 3 young actors, Li Ming, Wu Hui, and Zhang Feng, from his courtyard. Unexpectedly, that day, Ben Si came home from Tokyo, washed his head and face, dressed neatly, and came to see Simon King and kowtowed. He handed over Jia Jihui's reply. Simon King asked, "Why didn't you come all this time?" Ben Si said that he had caught a cold in Beijing until the 2nd day of the 1st lunar month. "I got up and came back." "Old man Jia, please give me your greetings, old man. Thank you for your care." Simon King still gave him the key to manage the woolen thread shop. He opened another room and asked Wu Erju to open a shop to sell silk and satin. When the Songjing goods ship arrived tomorrow, they would all be unloaded in the house on Shizi Street and sold together. He also asked Ben Si to ask the flower craftsman to build 2 fireworks at home and set them off for the guests on the 12th day. I saw Earl Ying leading Li San to see Simon King and first talk about the external affairs. After sitting down to have tea, he just said, "Brother Li San has a business to tell you today. Will you do it or not?" Simon King said, "What business?" Li Sandao said, "You can send a document from Tokyo to the 13 provinces of the world. Each province requires tens of thousands of tales of ancient artifacts. We, the Dongping Prefecture, have sent 20,000 taels, and the approval documents have not yet come down. Now on the street, Zhong'er's government spent 200 taels of silver to do this. If you want to do it, you need to find 10,000 taels of silver. The villain met his second uncle and came to tell his father. The two families are jointly engaged in this transaction. There is no one round. Here are the second uncle, Xiaoren and Huang Siege. He also has two assistants. I don't know what the father wants. Asked, what kind of ancient artifact is it? Li San said, I don't know yet, but the newly built Zhenyu in the imperial city has been changed to Shuyu, with many pavilions and pavilions built on it, and the King Baolu Palace, Hisan Hall, Chuan Temple, and the dressing pavilion of Concubine An. I'll use this rare bird and beast, Zhou Yi Sheng tripod, Han Sil silken furnace, Chuan Wang stone drum, bronze daggers of the past dynasties, cactus du tray, and rare antiques. There is so much work to do, and so little money and food. After Ximeng King heard this, he said, it's better to do it myself than if I teamed up with others to do it. Do you think I can't afford 1 or 20,000 silver? Li San said, it's all good, Dad. I'll keep it secret from him. There's no one else here, the second uncle and I. The count said, brother, there's someone else in the family. Don't you want to add more? Ximeng King said, I'll just add Bai Si in front of the root and do the dancing for you. Ximeng King asked again, where is the approval document? Li Sandao said, it's still on patrol and hasn't been issued yet. Ximeng King said, it doesn't matter. I'll send someone to write a letter and seal some gifts, and just ask Song Yuan for the future. Li San said, if you want to go, don't delay. Since ancient times, soldiers have to be quick, so they have to get the rice first. Let's eat first. I'm afraid it will be too late. I'll go to the house and eat what others did. Ximeng King said with a smile, if you're not afraid of him, just go to the house and I'll teach Song Yuan to take it back. I agree. So he asked Li San and the count to have dinner and go on a date. I will write a book now, and I will pay a small price to go there tomorrow. Li San said, one more thing. Father Song is no longer here. I got up the day before yesterday to go to Yanzhou Mansion for investigation. Ximeng King said, you will go to Yanzhou Mansion with Xiaoqiao tomorrow. Li San said, it doesn't matter. I will go back and forth for 5 or 6 days. That housekeeper, wait until I get down and have a book. Tell him to rest with me, and I will get up early with him tomorrow. Ximeng King said, if you, Father Song, don't believe it, he always likes Chen Hong, who is called Chen Hong and Lai Ju. Let's go. So he asked them to come over, meet Li San, and spend the night at his house. The Earl said, it's better to wait. Things should be done early, and those who are talented and quick will get it first. Then he and Li San finished their meal and left. Ximeng King then taught Chen Jingji how to write a book, and sealed the book with 12 leaves of gold on a handkerchief, along with Chen Hong and Lai Ju. Be careful on the way. If you ask for approval, you can come early. If you go to the house, I will ask you, Mr. Song, for a ticket. Ask the house for it. Lai Ju said, Dad, you don't need to pay. Little Zheng is here. Chongzhou promised to Counselor Zhu, so I knew it. So he took the gift, put it beside him, and went straight to Li San's house. Not to mention that on the 11th day, Lai Ju, Chen Hong and Li San hired Chang Xingshou early and went to Yanzhou Mansion. But on the 12th day, Ximeng King invited guests to drink at his house. I didn't go out at home that day, so I made an appointment with Uncle Wu, Zida and Chang Jiji to come and enjoy the lanterns and drink in the rolling shed in the evening. The young man from Wang Wang's family has been picking up boxes since early morning, waiting for the guests to arrive, and playing gongs and drums to welcome them. Zhou Shu's wife had an eye problem and was unable to come, so she sent someone back. Only Lady Jing Tongxi, Lady Zhang Tuanlian, Lady Yun Commander, as well as Qiao's mother, Kui's mother, Aunt Wu and Aunt Ming all arrived first. Only Mrs. He Qianhu, Wang Sangwen's mother Mrs. Lin and Wang Sangwen's wife were not seen. Ximeng King sent Peijian, Dian, and Qin Tunger back and forth to urge the invitation 2 or 3 times, and then sent Wen Sauer to urge the invitation. At noon, I saw Lin's big sedan and a small sedan following him. After seeing the ceremony, he invited Ximeng King to pay his respects and asked, Why don't the three official ladies come? Mrs. Lin said, my son is not here. And there is no one at home. After paying homage, he came down. There were only 1,000 ladies from thousands of families who did not arrive until noon. They were sitting in a sedan chair with 4 people, followed by a family member's daughter-in-law in a small sedan chair. The platoon troops were carrying the suitcases, and 2 men in green were holding onto the sedan chairs. They arrived at the second gate. Get off the sedan. There were drums, music and playing to welcome him, and Wu Yunyang and other sisters came to the head of the ceremony gate. Simon King was quietly in the west wing. He lowered the curtain and took a peek. He saw that Lan was about 20 years old. He had a tall figure and was dressed like pink makeup and jade. His head was full of pearls and jade, and he had 2 phoenixes, wearing a bright red unicorn robe with full sleeves, 5-color makeup and fur animals, a golden-laid jasper belt, and a blue skirt with floral brocade underneath. There are jingling sounds on both sides, and Muskorka is tangy to the nose. But see, she has a charming appearance and a light body. The posture and character are all bright and clear. And the figure is neither short nor long. 2 thin and curved moth eyebrows penetrate directly into the temples. A pair of trickling phoenix eyes wander around people. Her sweet voice is like a warbler singing on the sun, and her tender waist is like a willow blowing in the wind. Duen was born in the Kiluo team, but disliked the luxurious atmosphere. Growing up among the pearls and green bushes, it was elegant and light. Begonia flowers are blooming all over. No matter how late the night is, there are still willow catkins in bloom. But I don't know what spring is like. Moving lightly on the lotus steps, she has the grace of a pistol pearl fairy. Her puckered chiang skirt resembles the attitude of the water moon of Valakitasvara. Exactly, flowers explain language better than jade, and produce fragrance better than jade. This Simon King is gone. His soul flies into the sky, and his soul is lost in the sky. He has never had any physical contact, and his essence is lost first. After a while, Yunyang and others welcomed her into the back hall. After the meeting and the ceremony, Simon Tai was invited to pay her respects. When Simon King heard this, he quickly straightened his clothes and saluted, as if the jade trees in the Qiang forest were coming to earth, and the god witch mountain descended. He bowed and saluted. His heart was shaken and he couldn't stop it. After the visit, Yunyang first served tea in the rolling shed, then played music in the hall, and sat down at the banquet. Everyone took their order. Now Mrs. Lin came to the banquet. The opera plays the role of the story of Shao Tiangxiang Chao Yuan at midnight. After singing to folds, Li Guizhi, Wu Yin'er, Zhang Yuer, and Hong Sire started singing and played and sang the lantern lyrics. Simon King was in the rolling shed with his 3 little boys, Uncle Wu, Count Ying, Zida, Chang Zhiji, Li Ming, Wu Hui and Zheng Feng playing, singing and drinking. The judge heard that the bright moon is not always full, and the colorful clouds are easy to disperse. It is natural to be extremely happy and miserable, but whether it is extremely peaceful, Simon King only knows how to fight for fame and fortune, and indulges in extravagance and lewdness. Little does he know that the evil ways of heaven are evil, ghosts are chasing him, and death is imminent. At night, the lights are lit in the hall, and the little children play and sing. Before it was time to wake up, Simon King, who was sitting with others, dozed off on the table. The Earl ordered Gui Mei to fool him and said, "Brother, you are not happy today. Why do you just take a nap?" Simon King said, "I didn't sleep yesterday. For some reason, I just have no energy today and want to take a nap." Only 4 people were able to sing. The Earl taught Hong Sire and Zheng Yuer how to play and sing, while Wu Yin'er and Sister Li Gui handed the wine. While they were enjoying themselves in the bustling place, Diane suddenly came to report, "Mrs. Wang and Father He are getting up." Simon King came down from the banquet, walked to the back of the second door in the dark, and peeped at him getting into the sedan chair. Yunyang and others sent them out, and watched the fireworks in the courtyard in front. Mr. Lan has changed into a bright red mink fur coat, and Mrs. Lin is wearing a white silk coat, a mink cloak, and a golden necklace. Family members lit lanterns and crowded into sedan chairs to leave. This Simon King is about to be hungry. His mouth is full of food, and he wishes he could get married. Seeing that Lan's family was gone, He quietly came in through the passage. It was a coincidence that the marriage would come together. But something unexpected happened. Lai Ju's daughter-in-law saw that the guests had dispersed and was coming back from behind. When she opened the door, she didn't want to bump into Simon King and had no place to hide. It turns out that Simon King has been relieved for a long time after seeing his daughter-in-law's son Qiao Xiang. Although he is not as romantic as Lai Wang's wife Song, he is still a good second. So he took advantage of the wine and took him into his room for a kiss. This wife was originally in Wang Wang's family. Because she was the adopted master, her family was angry and sent her away. Today, she is on the same path again. How can she not obey? Then he put his tongue into Simon King's mouth. The two of them undressed and took off their trousers, pressed them on the edge of the king, and stretched out their legs. Simon King shrugged them off in joy. Exactly, I have never met Ying Niang, so I have to go to the matchmaker to satisfy my craving. There is poetry to prove it. The light of the lamp and the moon dips into the jade pot, and the green beads are illuminated clearly. Don't tell me that you will eventually have a wife and teach people to look for luofu under the mulberry tree.
Alright, this part of the story ends here.
Want to know what happened next? Let's listen to the breakdown next time.